The galaxy was forever changed by the events at Sigma Borealis 9. News of humanity's audacious rescue spread across star systems faster than even light-speed communication. 12 billion lives saved, an unstable star stabilized, and a dying system granted new life, all through methods that left even the most advanced species questioning the limits of possibility. Yet, for all their gratitude, the galaxy remained wary of the humans. Their success was undeniable, but their recklessness was equally unforgettable. In the weeks following the incident, Elise Marlowe found herself back in the council chamber, this time facing a panel of delegates who seemed torn between applauding her and exiling her. Varroin, as ever, presided over the proceedings, its mercurial form shimmering under the chamber's lights. "Captain Marlowe," it began, "your actions have once again demonstrated humanity's unparalleled ingenuity. Yet, they also underscore the inherent risk your species poses to galactic stability. Do you understand the paradox you represent?" Elise leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. "I'd say we're more of a catalyst than a paradox. We push the boundaries, sure, but isn't that what progress is about?" The Krok's ambassador clicked sharply. "Progress does not require chaos. Your methods, if one can even call them that, are reckless beyond comprehension. You destabilize as much as you repair." Felix, who had accompanied Elise to the hearing, couldn't resist chiming in. "With all due respect, Ambassador, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs." The Orvith delegate's crystalline form emitted a sharp chime. "A troubling analogy, Dr. Tanaka. We are not discussing breakfast, but the fate of billions." Elise raised a hand to quiet the debate. "Look, I get it. We're not what you're used to. But you called us because no one else had a solution. And we delivered." Varroin's surface rippled with something akin to contemplation. "It is true that your species has solved crises others deemed insurmountable. Yet your unpredictability forces us to consider whether the galaxy can survive the solutions you provide." The chamber fell into a heavy silence, broken only when Elise leaned forward, her voice firm. "You're afraid of us. I get that. But fear isn't the same as understanding. You think we're reckless because we don't follow your rules, but maybe your rules are the problem. Maybe the galaxy needs a little chaos now and then." The delegates exchanged uncertain glances. Varroin's response was measured. "Chaos, Captain Marlowe, is not inherently destructive. It can, as you say, be a catalyst. But it must be tempered with responsibility. Are you prepared to accept such responsibility on behalf of your species?" Elise's gaze didn't waver. "We already have. Every time we put ourselves on the line, every time we risk everything to save lives, we accept that responsibility. You just need to trust us." The debate raged on for hours, but the outcome was a foregone conclusion. Humanity would remain a part of the galactic community, albeit under watchful eyes. The Hold My Beer protocol was updated to include a stipulation. Any human action triggering the protocol would require direct oversight from a council representative. In the months that followed, humanity's role as a galactic power evolved in unexpected ways. Their reputation as chaotic problem solvers drew both admiration and trepidation, leading to a strange dynamic where other species sought their help, but also worked to minimize the collateral damage their solutions often caused. On Carthus Prime, the inhabitants celebrated their survival with a newfound appreciation for human ingenuity. Their scientists began incorporating elements of human engineering into their own technologies, blending precision with creativity. The result was a wave of innovation that rippled across the galaxy. Even among the council races, once staunch rivals found themselves collaborating in ways they never had before. The Kroks and Orvith, whose disdain for each other had spanned centuries, partnered to design safer versions of the plasma charges used at Sigma Borealis 9. The Varthians, known for their rigid adherence to protocol, began experimenting with more flexible decision-making models inspired by humanity's improvisational style. It was an irony not lost on Elise. "We're the chaos that makes everyone else better," she remarked to Jax one day as they watched a joint Krelk-Sorvith engineering team at work. Jax chuckled. "And they'll never admit it, but they kinda like it." Still, humanity's unpredictability remained a double-edged sword. When a mining colony on the edge of the galaxy reported an unstable wormhole threatening to engulf its sector, the Council once again turned to Earth. The humans' plan involved detonating a series of microsingularities to counterbalance the wormhole's pull, a proposal that elicited audible groans from the Krelk's ambassador. "This is madness," the ambassador protested. Elise grinned. "You're welcome to come up with something better." The mission succeeded, albeit not without its share of mishaps, including an incident where a human pilot accidentally activated a thruster at full power, singeing the fur of a Zenther diplomat. Despite the minor fiascos, the wormhole was stabilized and the colony saved. Back at the Council, Varroin addressed humanity once more. "Your capacity for innovation continues to astound. Yet so does your capacity for collateral creativity." Elise gave her trademark shrug. "Can't have one without the other." Varroin's voice softened. "Perhaps. But tell me this, Captain Marlowe. Do you believe the galaxy will ever truly understand humanity?" Elise considered the question, her expression uncharacteristically serious. "Maybe not. But maybe that's not the point. We're here to shake things up, to make everyone think differently. And in the end, that's how we all move forward." As the Perseverance prepared to leave the Leviathan for its next adventure, Elise stood on the bridge, gazing at the stars. Felix tinkered with a device nearby, muttering about fine-tuning the laws of physics, while Jax lounged in his chair, polishing a beer bottle. "You think they'll ever stop being terrified of us?" Jax asked. Elise smirked. "Not a chance. And that's exactly how we like it." With that, the Perseverance shot into the void, humanity's audacious spirit blazing a trail across the galaxy, equal parts savior, troublemaker, and catalyst for a brighter, albeit messier, future. The star Sigma Borealis 9, once a reliable anchor for a thriving system, had destabilized. A rogue neutron star's unexpected passage had disrupted its gravitational field, accelerating Sigma Borealis 9 into an erratic wobble. The scientists of the galaxy's most advanced species, Varthians, Orvith, and Krelks, had gathered aboard the Leviathan, a colossal research station orbiting the endangered planet Carthus Prime. Their unified conclusion was grim. Within 3 standard days, the star would collapse into a black hole, consuming Carthus Prime and its population of 12 billion. Efforts to evacuate the planet were already underway, but the logistics were insurmountable. The galaxy lacked the fleet capacity to relocate even a fraction of the population in time. Defeat loomed, and the despair aboard the Leviathan was palpable until the humans arrived. The Council's emergency broadcast had reached Earth 2 days prior. True to form, humanity's response was neither measured nor conventional. The human ship, the Perseverance, docked with the Leviathan, its mismatched hull plates and scorch marks standing in stark contrast to the pristine elegance of the alien vessels. As the airlock cycled open, Captain Elise Marlowe stepped out, flanked by Dr. Felix Tanaka and Commander Jax Thorne. The Varthian administrator, an imposing figure with sleek, metallic skin, greeted them with a flicker of annoyance. "Captain Marlowe, this is no place for theatrics. We require experts, not improvisers." Elise's expression remained calm, though her eyes sparkled with mischief. "Good thing we brought both." The humans wasted no time setting up a briefing. Holographic projections of Sigma Borealis 9 filled the chamber, interspersed with the human schematics, hastily drawn but undeniably bold. Felix, as animated as ever, took the lead. "We propose an energy redistribution solution to stabilize the star's core. Essentially, we're going to use a chain of controlled plasma detonations to offset the gravitational imbalances caused by the neutron star's interference." The Krok's ambassador, their multifaceted eyes glinting, clicked derisively. Preposterous. Even if such detonations were possible, the margin for error is infinitesimal. A single miscalculation would accelerate the collapse. Jax leaned forward, his grin unwavering. That's why we don't make mistakes. The Orvith delegate's crystalline form emitted a discordant chime. Your arrogance is unparalleled, humans. How do you intend to deploy these devices? No known vessel can survive the conditions near the star. Elise smirked. We'll take the Perseverance, she's been through worse. The room erupted into protests and arguments, but Elise stood firm. You called us here because you're out of options. So let us do what we do best. Besides, she added, raising a bottle from her ever-present cooler, what's the worst that could happen? Do not utter those cursed words, the Krok's ambassador hissed. Preparations began immediately. Felix's team worked alongside alien engineers, modifying plasma charges to withstand the extreme heat and radiation near Sigma Borealis 9. Jax and the human crew reinforced the Perseverance, applying layers of experimental heat shields, some acquired through questionable means. Elise coordinated with the Leviathan's command, her unflappable demeanor keeping tensions from boiling over. As the deadline approached, skepticism gave way to a reluctant hope. For all their eccentricities, the humans radiated a confidence that was oddly infectious. When Elise finally stepped onto the bridge of the Perseverance, her crew awaited her, their expressions a mix of fear and determination. The plan was simple in theory. The Perseverance would navigate dangerously close to Sigma Borealis 9, deploying plasma charges at key points to redistribute the star's energy. The execution, however, was anything but simple. As the ship approached the star, its heat shields glowed white-hot, and alarms blared incessantly. Felix manned the engineering console, his hands flying across the controls. Plasma charge 1 ready for deployment. Do it, Elise ordered. The first charge detonated, sending ripples of energy through the star's surface. The ship trembled violently, and Jax's voice crackled over the comms. Shields holding barely. The second and third charges followed, each detonation stabilizing the star incrementally. By the time the fifth charge was armed, the Perseverance was deep within the star's corona, its systems struggling to cope with the extreme conditions. Felix hesitated. We've got a problem. The stabilizers on charge 6 are failing. If we deploy it like this, it'll blow us all to hell, Jax finished grimly. Elise inhaled sharply, her mind racing. Can we repair it? Not in time, Felix replied. Elise's gaze swept the bridge, landing on the cooler in the corner. She grabbed a beer, popped the cap, and took a swig. Hold my beer, Felix groaned. Oh no. Elise leaped from her chair and sprinted toward the cargo bay, where the faulty charge was stored. The crew watched in stunned silence as their captain suited up and manually adjusted the stabilizers, her movements precise despite the ship's violent shuddering. Jax's voice came over the comms. Elise, you're insane. Yeah, well, you knew that when you signed up, she shot back, sealing the charge's stabilizer. Deploying now. The final charge detonated perfectly, and the star's erratic wobble began to subside. The Perseverance barely escaped the resulting shockwave, its shields failing just as it cleared the danger zone. The crew erupted into cheers, their relief palpable. Back aboard the Leviathan, the council representatives awaited the humans' return with a mixture of awe and trepidation. When Elise stepped off the ship, singed but grinning, Varrowan approached her. Your methods, as always, defy all convention, it said. Yet once again, you have succeeded where others could not. Elise shrugged. We're not here to follow conventions. We're here to solve problems. The Krok's ambassador clicked disapprovingly. At what cost? Your recklessness. Saved 12 billion lives, Elise interrupted. You're welcome. The chamber fell silent as the weight of her words settled in. Finally, Varrowan spoke. Perhaps the galaxy owes humanity more than it realizes. Yet I fear your unpredictability will continue to challenge us all. Elise smiled. You wouldn't have it any other way. As the humans departed, the council voted to formally commend their efforts. But as always, they also reaffirmed the protocol. Whenever a human uttered the phrase, "Hold my beer," the galaxy would brace for impact. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with anticipation as the representatives of over 100 star systems gathered for what was meant to be a routine session. Instead, it turned into a historic event when the humans arrived. The delegation from Earth was already infamous for its peculiarities, but no one, not even the seasoned diplomats of the Zenther Alliance, was prepared for what was about to unfold. Captain Elise Marlowe led the human contingent, her sharp blue eyes scanning the room with a mixture of curiosity and mischief. Behind her trailed Dr. Felix Tanaka, a physicist with an unkempt mop of hair and an energy that suggested he hadn't slept in days, and Commander Jax Thorne, whose brawny frame and easy grin exuded confidence, or perhaps recklessness. They carried no grand symbols of authority, only a battered toolkit and a large insulated container that the humans called a cooler. Their entry caused a ripple through the chamber. The Krelk's delegation, towering insectoids with a penchant for order, clicked their mandibles nervously. The crystalline Orvith emitted soft chimes that translated as mild apprehension. Even the stoic Varthians, known for their unshakable calm, shifted uneasily. Humanity's reputation preceded them. They were newcomers to the galactic stage, but their unorthodox methods had already left an indelible impression. The council's chair, a solemn being named Varroin, floated to the center of the chamber. Resembling a living stream of mercury, Varroin exuded an air of authority. Humans, it began, voice resonating like a bell struck underwater. We welcome you to this assembly. However, might I inquire as to the purpose of the container you carry? Our records indicate it is not standard diplomatic protocol. Elise smiled brightly, ignoring the thinly veiled disapproval in Varroin's tone. Oh, this? Just refreshments. Long meetings make for thirsty work. Before Varroin could respond, Felix nudged Elise and whispered something in her ear. She nodded and stepped forward. Actually, we have a proposal for the Council, a solution to the energy distribution crisis affecting the outer colonies. Varroin's surface rippled with what might have been curiosity. We were under the impression that the crisis required advanced gravitational harmonics, a field in which your species lacks sufficient expertise. Felix stepped forward, his words tumbling out in an excited rush. True, but we've been experimenting with something called quantum entanglement capacitors. They're not elegant, but they work. Well, most of the time. He flashed a grin that failed to reassure anyone. A murmur spread through the chamber. The Krelk's ambassador clicked furiously. This is highly irregular. We cannot entrust the stability of entire systems to unproven technology from a species known for its impulsiveness. Jax leaned in, his voice a low rumble. With respect, Ambassador, your species also said a combustion engine was too primitive to power a planetary defense grid. And yet, here we are. The Krelk's ambassador bristled, but Varroin raised a shimmering appendage. Let the humans speak. Elise stepped forward, her tone calm but firm. We propose a live demonstration. If it works, the Council can adapt the technology to suit its needs. If it fails, we'll take full responsibility. The chamber fell silent. The proposal was audacious, even reckless, but there was no denying humanity's strange charm. After a tense moment, Varroin inclined its form. Very well. Proceed. The humans moved quickly, assembling a device that looked like a haphazard fusion of alien components and human ingenuity. At its core was a glowing orb pulsating with a faint blue light. Felix adjusted a series of dials, while Jax secured the connections with something resembling duct tape. Elise stood to the side, addressing the Council. This capacitor will stabilize energy output across a simulated grid. We've accounted for gravitational harmonics and localized disruptions. Trust me, we've tested it extensively. Define extensively, an Orvith delegate chimed, their voice like wind chimes in a storm. Elise hesitated, then grinned. Enough to know it'll work. Felix straightened, wiping his hands on his lab coat. Ready when you are. Varroin floated closer. You may proceed. Felix flipped a switch, and the orb flared to life. At first, it worked as promised, harmonizing energy outputs with impressive precision. The council members leaned forward, murmuring in awe. But then, a high-pitched whine filled the chamber. The orb's glow intensified, and sparks flew. Felix frowned. That's unusual. Jax grinned and cracked his knuckles. Looks like it's time for Plan B. Elise groaned. We don't have a Plan B. Jax reached into the cooler, pulling out a beer. Sure we do. He handed it to Elise, who stared at him in disbelief. What am I supposed to do with this? Jax smirked. Say the words. Elise rolled her eyes, but couldn't suppress a grin. She turned to the council and raised the beer. Hold my beer. Chaos ensued. Felix scrambled to recalibrate the device, muttering equations under his breath. Jax dived into the mess of wires, improvising solutions with an unsettling mix of bravado and ingenuity. The Krok's ambassador shrieked as a bolt of energy narrowly missed them. Finally, with a triumphant yell, Felix slammed a button, and the orb stabilized. The chamber fell silent, save for the soft hum of the capacitor. Elise turned to the council, her smile equal parts sheepish and victorious. See? Works like a charm. Varroin's surface rippled again, this time with what might have been exasperation. Humans, your methods defy all logic. Yet, you succeed where logic dictates failure. Perhaps this is why the galaxy finds you both fascinating and terrifying. Elise shrugged. We aim to please. As the humans packed up their device, the chamber buzzed with a new energy. The demonstration had been a success, but the chaos it brought left an indelible mark on the council. Varroin addressed the assembly. From this day forward, any human uttering the phrase, "Hold my beer," shall warrant an immediate elevation of the galactic threat level to maximum. The decree passed unanimously.